industry-leading genetics, extensive local breeding and testing, top-performing products. Developed specifically for your field. Visit pioneer.com/what's next to learn more.
It's time for RealAg Radio on Rural Radio Channel 147 on Sirius XM. RealAg Radio and RealAgriculture.com is your home for insight and analysis of the issues that are impacting your farm business. Let's get real and get connected with RealAg Radio.
Hello and welcome to RealAg Radio here on Rural Radio Channel 147, Sirius XM. I am your host for the day, Lyndsey Smith, and yes, it is Thursday. That means it's time for the Farmer Rapid Fire, brought to you by Pioneer Seeds Canada. We are going to start in Alberta today. We will head to Saskatchewan, stop in Manitoba, and end up in Ontario. We are going to hear from Paul Hermans at the end of the show. He's based here in Eastern Ontario with Pioneer Seeds Canada. All right, without further ado, let's hop to it. We travel now to Alberta, and I've got Andrea Stroeve-Sawa on the line. Andrea, how are you?
I'm really good. I'm really good, Lyndsey. How are you?
I'm doing well. Are you ready for the holidays?
Good. As ready as I'm going to be. I think.
Cool.
I think. Yeah. Yeah. Christmas shopping is one thing, and then we try to kind of get everything caught up and ready so that we can not have any major crises during the holidays here. So, yeah, just kind of manage both and hope, and then cross my fingers and hope for no blizzards or snowstorms or polar vortexes or anything like that.
That is a big hope. When you have livestock. For those who maybe don't know what you do there at Shipwheel Cattle Co., tell us about all the adventures you have taken this year.
Yeah. Oh, gosh, all the adventures. What do you want to know? You want to know like normal farm adventures or other adventures? So yeah, we have a 5,500 head feedlot, and that keeps us busy most of the winter. And then in the summer, we graze 500 or 600 head on yearlings on grass. And then I have a worm casting business and a small on-farm store. And I have, where we direct market like our own beef and our own eggs. And then we have 36 other Canadian vendors that sell everything from earrings and waffle mix and barbecue sauce out of our little store. And we just added a self-serve kiosk there. So that's all self-serve. It's open daily 8 to 8, and anybody can just pop in and grab some stuff. So that seems to be working. I mean, somewhat. Everything's sort of working. So yeah, it's just a matter of fine-tuning and kind of getting it going. But that's what we do.
Yeah, that's, it's enough. I mean, I feel like you might have 10 minutes to add something in a day.
Yeah, I maybe could.
Maybe.
Probably not. But maybe. I definitely will try to.
Of course.
It might not work. But
yes.
We'll try.
Yeah, you'll try. Now, how are the cows? How has the early winter gone so far?
Yeah, pretty good, actually. I felt like fall run kind of seemed to last forever for us. Like we started getting cattle like middle of September, and I kept saying, it's going to start. The run's going to start. And it just they trickled in from end of September all the way through. I think the last ones we kind of got in was like November 30th. So it just seemed to last forever. But, we're full now, and everybody seems to be up and going and on feed, and health is overall really good. I had one little problem pen that we kind of seem to have dealt with now, but other than that, everything, knock on wood, I feel like you're jinxing me, Lyndsey, but everything seems to be just kind of rolling along. So I'm pretty happy.
I apologize profusely if next week something goes awry. You can just 100% blame me though. Although
I will.
Yeah, good. Although, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I think I remember watching on social media that you did get a gigantic dumping of snow. Did you not?
We got some snow. oh boy, I don't even remember when that was. November sometime, something like end of November sometime. And typically we find that like cattle will do really well. They're made to be in snow. As long as like they can handle the environmental stress, as long as they don't have nutritional stress or immune system stress or something like that. If it's just one thing, then we can handle the nutrition and everything else. They handle cold weather and snow and everything just fine. If you get a dump of snow or a polar vortex and they're out of water because their water bowl freezes, then we've got problems, right? Two things are kind of, that's not so good. But as long as we can manage all the other things, they do just fine. They don't even, like, it doesn't even faze them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard on us because we have to, shovel bunks and do all that, make sure everything, handle the snow part of it. But other than that, it's really not a big deal. Yeah.
Now, for those who have, of course, stopped by the store and seen all that you're busy doing there, what's your favorite part about hosting an on-farm store like that?
For me, I find when we sell commodity beef, I don't have a connection really with where that beef goes to. And so for me, it's been really fun. I'm really about connection. I've known that that's kind of my thing. That's the thing that kind of drives me, and that's what makes me authentically feel like I'm running my business the way I want to run my business. And so for me, it's the connection to the people that are actually they're to our consumer, right? So I have a direct connection to the people that come in and buy our beef and eat our beef. And then I have a direct connection to all these crazy, amazing Canadian entrepreneurs that I get to have in our store that I'm so honored that they even let us sell their products in our store. So for me, that was the major driver. It also kind of stemmed from crazy, believe it or not, it kind of stemmed from COVID. Like we kind of expanded and started doing some different stuff during COVID. And then like it started with, we had bees and honey and eggs and people asking if we would sell meat all the time. And so then we just decided to open a store, and it just kind of all stemmed from there. So I wouldn't say that it's definitely not its own standalone business, but it's definitely contributing now. It's not a total loss right now. So that's good. That's good. So just focusing on growing it, but like direct marketing and being like actually marketing our product is something that I am not used to because when I sell commodity beef, we phone up Lakeside or Cargill or wherever and we sell our beef, right? And then that's the end of it. I don't see it after that. So that's been a whole new thing sometimes I love it and sometimes I hate it, but I'm learning. Yeah. I'm learning.
It is definitely, it's rewarding, but it's challenging. That is
in the same.
All at once. Yeah. Now, so one last question on this. You did mention the composting, the worm casings, etc. Did you see something and went, yes, I want to be a worm farmer? Or did somebody say like, hey, you totally need to be a worm farmer too? Like how did that happen?
How exactly did you start worm casting? So we had always composted all the manure and bedding from the feedlot. That was something that we've done for 20 years or more. So we make about roughly 10,000 ton of compost every year, and then we sell it to neighboring farmers, and it's kind of large scale. But again, through COVID, we were kind of like, okay, what else could we do? And I put it out to my staff and said, okay, what do you guys think? Like, what do you think that we should add on? And believe it or not, my office administrator came to me, and she came in the morning and she put this big like tote full of worms on my desk. And she says, I brought 200 friends with me to work today, and I think this is what we need to do. And I was like, okay. And so she's like, I think we should make worm castings. And so we started making worm casting compost, and we've made like compost extract to put on our grassland, and we've done some seed inoculant and stuff with it. And we've tested it and analyzed the biology and everything. It's actually just an amazing product, really high in fungal count, and something that's really beneficial for our prairie grassland because we're highly bacterial dominated. So to add a little chaos into the system, we've been, doing a little bit of experimenting with worm casting compost. So we started out with 13 totes of worms, and we've since graduated to kind of it's called a continuous flow system, and it has a little cutting bar on the bottom, and we harvest it probably once or twice a week now, and get a whole bunch of worm castings. It's amazing. It's an amazing product.
I can't wait to tell Sean that I'm going to bring worms into the office one day and be like, if Andrea is good with her employees doing this, then you should be too.
You should be too. You should be too. I'm sure it'll go over well.
I'm sure it's going to go fine. Yeah, that is fascinating. I love how ideas come about. I think that's so great. Okay, before we run out of time, I do have the question of the week, and this sort of relates to. I don't know if you saw it. No, it's going to be good. I don't know. I always
try to cheat on these because I don't think fast.
Yeah, no, it's okay. This one's an easy one. Okay, because this week, Sean, we're doing a draw to see who can guess how many lanyards are in a box in the office. That. Yes. And what people I don't think realize is like literally Sean has kept like every lanyard he's ever got. It's like his one hoarding tendency. Anyway, so I want to know this week, what is your favorite, or what's the best like conference take home or like trade show giveaway? What's the best one you've ever got, or your favorite thing to get?
My favorite thing to get. Okay, this isn't conference related. Oh, does that count?
Yeah, sure.
Can I cheat?
We can do whatever we want.
Okay, we're making our own rules. Okay, yeah. I just went with Alberta Cattle Feeders to Mexico on a ACFA. They call it the Now Generation, and we toured around a whole bunch of different farms in Mexico, and it was an amazing trip. And on the last day, we went and had a Mexican. We had a chef from Canada Beef, and she made steak that was Canadian beef and then some Mexican beef, and we got to compare the two. But we got to do this wine, and we got to blend our own wine, and then we got to take home our own wine that we made, and it was our own blend, and we got to kind of experiment, and there was test tubes and all kinds of things that we got to pour in, and so you had like 48 mils of Merlot and 48 mils of Cab Sav, and you made this bottle, and then you got to seal the bottle and put your own label on it and everything, and we got to bring it home. So that's my favorite thing that I've got to bring home.
That is amazing. And
it was super fun.
Companies take note at your booth at AgriTrade.
Take note. If I can come and blend my own wine,
you're going to be a happy camper. Yeah, okay. I love it.
I'm going to be a happy camper.
Yeah, I love it. Okay, that is fantastic. Very personal, useful, and fun. I love it. Okay, Andrea, we're going to leave it there. Have a wonderful Christmas holiday, and thanks so much for making time for me today.
You too. Thanks, Lyndsey.
All right, take care. And we'll be back with more RealAg Radio right after this.
What's next doesn't happen by accident, doesn't happen by chance.
What's next happens when experience meets expertise, when data meets dollars, and when steel meets earth.
What's next happens when the promising work of Pioneer's state-of-the-art research centers meets the unsparing challenges of more than 17,000 on-farm trials.
Our ultimate goal is to bring the next seed breakthrough to your field.
Because Pioneer isn't just our name.
It's our mission. Pioneer.
What's next
happens here.
The Canola School on RealAgriculture.com is your one-stop shop for everything a canola grower needs. Check out our free video series on YouTube for all the latest in canola agronomy, research, marketing, and more. Don't have time to watch? Download the podcast version of the Canola School on RealAgriculture.com or anywhere you download your podcasts. Stay on top of all things canola with the Canola School on RealAgriculture.com, brought to you by BASF and Invigor Hybrid Canola.
I'm Lyndsey Smith from RealAgriculture.com. Join me Monday nights for The Agronomist, a 1-hour live and interactive show broadcast across YouTube, Facebook, and X. Monday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern, I host expert agronomists from all over the country to give you answers to some of the toughest agronomic questions. Join us live or catch the replay Tuesday morning. That's The Agronomist with me, Lyndsey Smith, Monday nights live at 8 p.m. Eastern. Welcome back back to Real Ag Radio here on Rural Radio, Channel 147, Sirius XM. It is Thursday, December 19th, if you can believe it. And Thursdays, of course, are for the Farmer Rapid Fire, brought to you by Pioneer Seeds Canada. We head now to Glaslyn, Saskatchewan, and I've got Daryl Fransoo on the line. How are you doing, Daryl?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing well. We spoke not that long ago, so now it's like we get to follow up on what happened last month.
Oh, it's like a monthly thing.
Pretty much. So I think last time we spoke, I asked you about when you decorate for the holidays. So, are you ready? It's, we got less than a week to go, so I hope you're ready.
Yeah, it did pretty good this year. I think like right around December 1st, everything got put up. So.
Well, look at you guys. You're sorted.
I know.
You're ready to roll.
I know. How about you?
Well, you know what? We did okay. We were a little later. I do think, though, I've got like one more round of stuff to go run out and get. And then I think I'm ready next week to just stay home and bake and look at twinkly lights. So I think we're good.
Nice.
Yeah, exactly. Nice. I think we're good. Now, it actually works out well that we've got you back on because I don't know if you noticed, but Ottawa is a bit of a mess this week. Maybe you've noticed. And
yeah, that's probably the understatement of the time right now.
Yeah, exactly. So I'd love to know, how are you feeling about Canada's prospects right now on a political scale?
I just, it's due time for an election. I think it's that simple. I think you look at all the polling and whatnot, and Canadians are kind of wanting a change, I think. So with the inaction that's happening in Ottawa over the last 6 weeks almost, it's maybe time we have a change there.
Yeah,
that's how I feel. I was there about a week ago or so, and it's weird there right now because nothing's happening. Right, it's like the talk is an election, but no one knows when it's going to happen, and just nothing's getting done. It's actually wild.
Yeah, it's bizarre. Now, right. So now you, of course, you're quite active on the policy side. Head to Ottawa once in a while, probably more often than many. What kind of meetings and discussions happen when as a member of producer group, you come to Ottawa? Is it like, brass tacks and you figure it out, or is it a lot of like kissing babies and shaking hands? What is it really like when you come to do some of these meetings?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of things. This last time going down, it was kind of more relationship building stuff. Still, we have our priorities when you go down there, but relationships are so important in almost anything in life, right? So this last time was kind of more that, but, often we go down with 2 or 3 priorities that we really want to push. Or if there's something that's actively happening, bring our position forward on that. But yeah, sometimes you just go there just to make friends, right? And that provides tremendous value in the end.
Mm-hmm. And do you as a group decide, here's the MPs you want to meet with, or here's who reached out to us? How do you sort of put a plan together of who you're going to meet with?
Yeah, again, kind of a combination. This last time with probably a change of government, we kind of went to more of the Conservative MPs, and if we're pushing something, we'll go to the governing party, right? So it's a combination. It depends on why we're there and what's happening at the time.
Mm-hmm. It is a strange time, though. You're right.
It is. And the other important thing when we go down there is we do meet with a lot of bureaucrats, right?
Yeah.
Ultimately, they're the ones doing the work, so it's good to be in front of them, too.
Yeah. I think actually that's something that probably a lot of people don't realize is that the MPs, the ministers, obviously very important, and they're active in Parliament, but the bureaucrats are the ones that, are there day in, day out and actually carry out a lot of this stuff. So, sometimes they're around much longer than the MPs, depending.
Right. And a lot of times they're doing the dirty work. They're doing the deep dives and whatnot. Ultimately, the decision is up to the ministers or the leader, but they're the ones that are doing the nitty gritty.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Now, closer to home, what's keeping you busy this week as you sort of get ready for the holidays?
We've been hauling a little bit of grain, so we've been busy at that. It's actually snowing and minus 43 with the wind chill right now, so we decided to not start the trucks, but that's been kind of keeping us busy. It's been a little bit of a slower winter, as I said last time. We didn't have the crop that we normally have, so I've been trying to maybe concentrate on more of the policy and the things right now because there just isn't much farm work to be done.
Yeah. For sure. Now, one of the things, of course, that once we flip to the new year, crop production week will be there in Saskatchewan before you know it. And that brings me actually to the question of the week. It's somewhat related. So thinking about conferences or trade shows, whichever you prefer, what is your favorite thing to get as like a thank you or a giveaway at a booth or something like that? What is your favorite thing to pick up when you're out and about at some of these things?
Oh, Christ. That's a tough one right now because, almost everything has been done.
Mm-hmm.
It's true. Yetis were cool when they were coming out, but that's been done. You can always use more pens and papers and stuff like that. I really have to think about that one.
Mm-hmm.
Battery packs were done. I don't know. What is the new and cool thing right now?
Well, so that's a good question. So, and this is somewhat inspired by Sean deciding we're having a bit of a giveaway right now of a RealAg hoodie. If you can guess how many lanyards are in the box in his office. And I have to say, like, that I'm a sucker for a good pad of paper. Like, I know it sounds kind of lame, right, but I love to make real lists. So when companies or conferences give out a pad of paper, I love it. Other people, of course, they want that mug or a hat. It tends to be somewhat useful. So I guess maybe that's a question. Do you prefer something you're actually going to use, or do you like something fun?
Yeah, for sure. I really like hoodies and hats, but they have to be like good hoodies and hats. I wear a lot of hats. So I like, if I get a good hat, I'm pretty pumped, but there's a lot of lower quality stuff out there too.
I think that's part of it, is that it has to, if you're going to actually use it or wear it, it should be decent quality, I think.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I agree. The hoodies are good though. You wear them a lot. Mm-hmm. It gets the word out there, whoever's giving them away, right? Yeah. But it has to be good stuff.
It does. Yeah, I would agree on that one. We actually should do a poll as to what percentage of Farmer's Wardrobe has a logo on it of an agriculture group or company. Because I think it would be very high. Yeah, I was going to say.
I got lost.
Yeah, is it more than 50%? Probably. Oof. Yeah, it's a big one. Yeah. Probably. Okay. All right, we'll leave it there. Daryl, thanks so much for being game here on the Farmer Rapid Fire. We always appreciate it. And enjoy the holidays. I hope you get some downtime.
Yeah, you too.
Okay, bye-bye. And we'll be back with more RealAg Radio right after this.
If you're serious about agriculture, RealAg's got you covered.
For over 10 years, we've listened to and shared what producers have to say about everything from policy to agronomy from coast to coast.
Keep up with the latest in Canadian agriculture at RealAgriculture.com through daily newsletters, and check out our YouTube channel.
Thanks for joining us in the RealAg community as we continue to cover and serve North American agriculture.
Before you get back in the field this year, spend some time with the Corn School on RealAgriculture.com. Get all the information you need on hybrid selection, planting depth, crop inputs, and more from a wide range of industry experts. A massive library of video content is available on demand when you need it most. Spend your time outside of the field, inside the classroom, with the Corn School on RealAgriculture.com.
Get all the information you need to keep your pulse crop healthy and profitable with the Pulse School on RealAgriculture.com. The Pulse School is a free YouTube video series covering agronomy, research, and more across a host of different pulse crops. It's also available as an audio podcast wherever you download or stream your favorite podcast. Check us out on YouTube or visit RealAgriculture.com. The Pulse School, brought to you by BSF Canada.
Welcome back to RealAg Radio here on Rural Radio, channel 147, Sirius XM. And of course, it is Thursday. It is time for the Farmer Rapid Fire, brought to you by Pioneer Seeds Canada and brought to you by Pioneer brand canola with Optimum Gly, the highest yielding glyphosate-tolerant trait on the market. What's next in canola happens here. Visit pioneer.com/Canada for more information. We hop now to where there used to be a broom ball court that I would head to in the winters, but I don't know if it's still there. We're going to ask Korey Peters out near Randolph, Manitoba. Is the Broomball Arena still there?
You mean the old Randolph Gardens rink, I'm assuming?
That would be the one, yeah.
Sadly, it did get, it's seen its better years, so it did get torn down about 15 years ago, maybe somewhere around there, but I know, it's sad. I grew up playing on there and learning to skate.
It's super sad. I'm shedding a tear from my childhood, just a little bit. Now, as we can hear, you are traveling about today. Are you delivering grain or hogs, or what are you doing today? Oh, all right.
Yeah, we're hauling some canola to the elevator today, trying to get paid a little bit before Christmas and the year-end closeout.
Yes. Hey, now, if you still got checks in the mail, you could even still get a check in the mail.
Fingers crossed that some show up before the new year. That would be nice.
I keep hoping maybe I will suddenly get checks in the mail, even though I wasn't expecting them, but it rarely pans out. Yeah.
Usually it's just invoices.
That's right. It's just the bills. Yeah. Okay. So now how's the weather been for hauling? Because this can be a dicey time of year.
Yeah, it's been okay. A little bit, it keeps warming up and then cooling off. So we've had some snowfall and then it freezes onto the road. So it hasn't been the best for hauling. I think realistically, I would prefer if it would just sit at minus 15 or 20 and just stay there. And then the road conditions would improve a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's okay. We're getting by. We're not in a panic to haul everything on one day. So we can take our time and do it safely.
Yeah. Now, what else will keep you busy this winter?
Oh, we got lots of stuff on the go. On the farm, it's always hauling, and we're nearing completion of finally building a larger shop. So
Nice.
We plan on rebuilding our air seeder this winter. It needs everything, new bushings, top to bottom, and all that stuff. So we have a long list to do this winter yet.
Okay. So how much bigger did you go with the shop?
Pretty big. Everyone says you want to build your dream shop, do what you think, and then add another 15 to 25%.
Something like that, yeah.
But we'll leave that extra 15, 25% to the fourth generation. So we built, fairly big for now, and hopefully it meets our needs for, the next 40-ish years, I'm going to say.
Yeah, I think building a bigger shop than you think you need and buying more land earlier are the two things most grain farmers will tell you should do. Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
I think they all agree.
Yeah, exactly. If only. Okay. But that's exciting. And certainly it is a pretty large undertaking. So how many years has this been in the works?
We've been talking about it for the last, 4 or 5 years, on and off. So myself and my brother and my cousin were all between the age of 40 and 50 kind of. And so we kind of had said it's either now or never. Pretty much we want to get use out of it, so it's got to be built now, or it'll be the next generation's problem and bill to pay, which hopefully shows up or doesn't show up in the mail. Actually, I hope it doesn't, but it will.
Did construction costs fall pretty much in line, or were you struggling with some creep?
They've been pretty good, I believe. I haven't seen the full total bill at the end. We've been really happy with our builder, and they've been on the ball. As you build, I think anything, it doesn't matter what it is, there's always things that come up, and it's like, well, this product, may help with this. Would you consider it? And then, it has 5% of the total cost or 3%, but you do that, 5 times, and all of a sudden it's a big number, right? So, but there was a few exceptions, we really wanted, like we added a perforated ceiling, just to reduce the echo. We went into a local dealer shop in Steinbach. They had built a new shop. We walked in there, and it was a very quick decision after we walked in their new shop with perforated ceiling. So, you run into things like that, and you're like, okay, that's the cost I will take on. While as others, you just say, you know what, that's something I can live without.
Yep, exactly. Yep. Did you have trouble sort of coming to agreement on some of the details? Did you have very much similar ideas, or did you have to duke it out on some of them?
I think we had fairly similar ideas. We went back and forth a lot on overhead doors versus, diamond doors versus power lift doors. That was a big discussion. It took a while to decide. And then the office space, the dimensions of it and trying to leave room for growth, but, not overdoing it. How many owners are on the farm? Do we really need a board table that seats 10 or do we need one that seats 6 people? And if salesmen show up, well, they can stand and earn their keep. I don't know. So we're trying to figure out a few little details like that.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yep. Now, what does this replace? Did you have a small shop, a decent shop, or is this going to be all new?
We had a shop that was built, I believe it finished in 1989 that my dad and my uncle built. And it served our needs. We could fit one machine in at a time. But, it wasn't quite big enough. We couldn't open the combine hopper inside. And depending which combine you have, that means you can't actually get to some of the filters to change them. And we couldn't get any implements in. So we decided to we loved the location of our shop. So we actually hired 2 cranes to move our existing shop to a slightly different location on the yard. And we did a yard expansion at the same time and built our new shop right where our old shop was. So that allowed us to keep our old shop for, holding the snowblower, the service truck, and it will also allow us to store more chemical and seed ahead of time to hopefully offset some of those costs.
Very cool. I hope you got video because that sounds like a really fun exercise.
I did. It actually cost me a drone as I smashed it trying to take a video of the shop moving.
It's the little things, that is very cool. Okay, we'll have to check that out. All right. Now I do have, Korey, I have my question of the week. And this one is somewhat inspired by Sean deciding to get people to guess how many conference lanyards live in a box in his office, which is it is like one of a million boxes, let me tell you. But what is your favorite take home from a conference or event that you've either received or your favorite thing to receive? What do you love as a giveaway?
You know what? One of my favorite things in the last couple years, I've got a few really good pairs of gloves, and they've been labeled with a company. And you know what? I think it's like we all use them, and no matter how good quality they are, they all wear out. So I still need to replenish that, and that's something that I think everybody uses. And I don't want to use the cheap ones. I really like the nice ones, but they still have a lifespan. So that would probably be my number one.
Oh, that is a good one. I like that answer, and I would agree. You're right. Even when they're well made, you're still going to go through them. So they are consumable. Yeah. You need more. I like it.
Yeah.
And I happen to appreciate when I know that companies are going to put their logo, just make it small. That's all. That's all I ask. Yeah. And then it's fine.
You know what? That's actually a good point, too. Yeah. I don't disagree. Yeah.
There you go. All right, Korey, thanks so much for joining me on the show today. I appreciate it. Take care.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
All right. All right, it is time to take a break here from the Farmer Rapid Fire, brought to you by Pioneer Seeds Canada, and we'll be back with more right after this.
Here's what Wheat Pete's word on RealAgriculture.com is all about in under 30 seconds.
It's wheat time. I love wheat time. I love wheat. Get that sulfur on. Get that seeding rate right. Get that nitrogen on your wheat right. Get that protein. Know your variety, know when you need to put fungicides on, pick your product, pick your rate, do the right job, get this wheat crop right. Have a nice day, grow amazing wheat.
Infuse some energy into your next corporate event, customer meeting, or conference with RealAg Radio, Canada's national agriculture radio show. Create a unique experience at your next event with host Sean Haney, broadcasting RealAg Radio live on SiriusXM, featuring exciting guests, captivating interviews, and the latest news from the agriculture community. Contact advertising at realagriculture.com or call 587-787-1795 to book your on location with RealAg Radio today. Welcome back to RealAg Radio here on Rural Radio Channel 147, Sirius XM. I am your host for the day, Lyndsey Smith, and it is, of course, the Farmer Rapid Fire, brought to you by Pioneer Seeds Canada. We head now to around Gadshill, Ontario, because who knows where you actually are, Josh? We've got Josh Boersen on the line. How are you?
I'm very well, Lyndsey. How are you?
I'm doing well. What's keeping you busy this week?
Well, I'm actually farming again, which is kind of nice. So I'm, or part of our farm business, I'm hauling grain to IGPC in Elmer, some corn.
Oh, okay. So now is this like a regular sort of for this time of year, or is this still a bit behind? How is that as far as the usual?
Usually we try to move a little bit of corn in harvest season, so we don't have to move it around the farm as much, I guess. This year, just the way our acres stacked up, we were able to kind of cram it all into the space we had. So normally I maybe wouldn't truck this close to Christmas, but the weather's actually not too bad right now. And when you get movement, sometimes you just have to say yes, because the next time might be a ways away.
Well, that is true. And how has it been navigating marketing / delivery / pricing?
Well, the deliveries so far, this is some of the first corn I've shipped, are actually going very, very well. Quality is great, so that's a welcome relief. We don't have to stress about maybe dawn issues.
Yeah.
But marketing, well, that is a beast in and of itself. With our dollar rapidly declining, I'm not sure where I should be. I think we have enough coverage that we're in a profit position, but of course we'd always like to have a little more.
Yeah. Yeah, we're this is I don't know, I guess when the dollar is sitting somewhere around 80, 85, we don't talk about it much. But when we start creeping into the low 70s and then perhaps dipping our toe into the 60s, it starts coming up in conversation a lot. Like this week. Yeah. So what, I mean...
Well, that exchange will hurt you.
Yeah, it will.
Buying.
Well, if you're buying stuff out of the States, it sure will. Now, it kind of works in our favor for exports, but yeah. What are you hearing sort of coffee shop talk about the dollar? I mean, Ontario's in a bit of a different position than a lot of Canada when it comes to cross-border trade. So what are you hearing?
Well, I guess I haven't been putting my ear to the ground well enough on the dollar. I think that overall our federal politics are really perhaps weighing on it, but the Bank of Canada rate drop also probably is playing on that. So I don't even know what to think, even if the coffee shop was talking or I was there listening. So
yeah, I'm probably in the same boat, I'll be honest. Now, you did listen to our Friday show. As you pointed out,
did.
on X. Were you surprised on Monday when we got Chrystia Freeland's resignation? Because as much as we sort of called it, we also were being somewhat tongue-in-cheek. And I really didn't think this is how this week would go. So were you surprised too?
I guess I didn't expect the minister to resign, but I'm going to give her credit where it's due. Boy, did she do it the right way, let's say. She, at least she left on her terms, I think even as much as Miss Raybould left cabinet as well, years gone by. So It was nice to see that kind of message from the minister.
Yep. But what a week, let me tell you, that it's been. I think Monday felt like 3 days in one.
I'd give you that. I would. It was quite a almost. It did feel like a circus in a lot of ways, watching what was going on.
Yeah, exactly. Now, one of the other things that we have been also talking about this week is, speaking of federal government, is the sustainable ag strategy. We did get news last week, of course, that Kelvin Hepner covered with some of the major crop production groups withdrawing from the committee. And you had an excellent comment about, because some people were saying, well, this is kind of a Western thing versus an Eastern thing. But I appreciated your take on it of where, why this is important to everybody. So could you share with our audience sort of your thoughts on the SAS and the pullback of the crop groups from doing such?
Well, I did see some comments further down in discussion on X, and maybe I should spend less time there, but about why they didn't stay at the table, and these groups should have remained at the table to have the dialogue or continue to be there. but in all the discussions I've heard, what the groups were there to do and try and steer the direction of the SAS, it was going nowhere. The government was altering direction or not being amenable to reasonable, change in direction or even guidance. And so at some point, I think you have to cut bait. And those national groups definitely put in the effort. I am acutely aware of the effort they put in to try and right the ship, as it were, on the SAS, and it was just not being fruitful. And at that point, there's no way that we could stand in front of our farmers and say that, well, we were there to the end, and now the government's come out with this thing that no one's going to agree with, or very few might agree with, and we've got to wear that, or they'd have to wear that. So it just, I will say they tried.
Yeah.
They tried to be.
Yeah, and that's very much what we're hearing is, I think when the government puts out a call of saying this is what we want to do, I think, producer groups were there in good faith to try and steer it and figure out what this would all look like. But at some point, you're right. You have to recognize when it's just not maybe going to materialize into anything you really want to put your stamp on and have to walk away from it. So we'll see how that all plays out over the next weeks. My colleague Kelvin Hepner is still following up with many of the groups and trying to figure out where it all sits. So stay tuned is, I guess, where we leave that one. Further to this week and my question of the week, it has nothing to do with the holidays, actually, which is perhaps an oversight on my part. But I'm asking what everybody loves as when you go to conferences or you go to the trade show and you get one of those giveaways, a thank you, something branded to take home. What is your favorite item, your favorite thing that you've either received or like to receive when you get some of those thank yous?
Well, I might have two answers. I always get pens because I need pens, and why would I buy them when they're everywhere apparently at the conferences? But a giveaway, that's a tricky one. Like, I don't know that I've seen anything remarkable outside of maybe whiskey or something enjoyable like that.
I like it. It's a little different than maybe you typically would get at a conference, but maybe we're just going to the wrong conferences.
Well, perhaps I need to change my venues. I'm not sure.
I'm not sure. I do now. Okay, so here's earth-shattering news because that's what this show is all about. When it's free pens, does it matter on the ink color? Because I am very particular, but not everybody is, I've learned.
I guess I would tend to the black ink, but I'm not exactly worried about the color.
I'm a blue ink.
Okay.
So there you go.
I see. Yeah, I'm not surprised that we're different.
Yeah, exactly. It's our differences that make us stronger, Josh. So there you go. Okay, we'll leave it there. You can keep the black ink pens. I'll keep the blue. I just find they're easier to read. Maybe it's my writing that's the problem. That's entirely possible. My penmanship.
All my checks are printed in black laser ink, so I sign them in black ink.
Consistency. I like it. Okay. All right. Well, good luck with hauling this week and into next, and all the best to you and yours for the holidays as well.
You too. Merry Christmas, Lyndsey. It was great to talk to you.
Yes, you too. Okay, Merry Christmas. Take care. Bye-bye. All right, we've got one more break, and then, we're going to bring it on home right here to Eastern Ontario. Coming up next, we've got Paul Hermans with Pioneer Seeds Canada right after this.
RealAg Radio is Canada's only daily radio show focused on agriculture. Get expert advice on Agronomic Monday. Tuesdays and Wednesdays will cover a broad range of issues. Thursday we'll hear from farmers across the country on the Farmer Rapid Fire. And we'll wrap things up Fridays with the RealAg Issues panel with Kelvin Hepner and Lyndsey Smith. Join us Monday through Friday at 4:30 Eastern. And don't forget about the replay at 7 in the morning on Rural Radio 147, Sirius XM.
Hi, I'm Bernard Tobin, host of the Soybean School on RealAgriculture.com. Throughout the year, on the Soybean School, we'll bring you timely agronomic video content from planting to harvest, from the latest agronomic research to the latest in production technology. Check out our massive video library on YouTube, RealAgriculture.com, or download the audio podcast versions wherever you get your podcasts.
The Soybean School is brought to you by BASF and Syngenta Canada.
Welcome back to Real Ag Radio here on Rural Radio Channel 147, Sirius XM. I am your host, Lyndsey Smith, and this is, of course, the Farmer Rapid Fire, brought to you by Pioneer Seeds Canada. And joining me now with Pioneer Seeds Canada, it's Paul Hermans, based out of Eastern Ontario. Welcome here, Paul. How are you?
I'm doing great. Going into the Christmas holidays, looking forward to a break and, setting up for next year as well, though, Lyndsey.
Yeah, I know. We're taking this time to reflect, but also look forward. And so let's talk about that today. First, let's reflect. How did the year go? What lessons did we learn agronomically?
Well, I think overall, most guys were really happy with corn and soybean yields and everything else. But as we get into this winter month, it's really good, opportunity. What worked, what didn't work. Go back, look at yield maps, sit down with other family members, people you're working with, and take a deeper dive and think about that for next year, because next year is going to come quick and we really have to start planning for it.
Mm-hmm. I don't know that we're going to have the same winter as last year, Paul, which was no winter, where we were jokingly saying, hey, maybe we could plant in March. I feel like we're going to get a more real winter this year.
I hope so too.
Yeah.
For the skiers, the snowmobilers, a lot of guys want to get out there and get going for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, now we did have a few challenges this past year, and one of the ones I want to touch on is tar spot.
Sure.
The two of us are in Eastern Ontario. Did it show up in Eastern Ontario this year?
So far, I have not heard of a definite location that was in Eastern Ontario. Now,
okay.
Quebec had lots of areas. New York State south of us, up to Belleville, Picton area had it. Right. So it's all around us. But that's something that I'm talking with customers about. We have to respect this disease. It's going to come. What's your plan to deal with it? Because there's genetics in terms of hybrids that have better tolerance, but then also a fungicide. And a lot of people just have not sprayed before, don't have the equipment. So what's the plan when it comes? Mm-hmm. And I think for our area, 2025, we'll probably see it. Most likely won't have to spray, but it's 2026 and beyond. The experience from Southern Ontario and other areas, once they see it the first year, the second they have to deal with it. So that's a big topic. Over turkey dinner, we're going to buy a new sprayer, Dad, or whatever, or that kind of stuff. So,
or perhaps the custom sprayer in your neighborhood needs a phone call earlier than later to see if they've got capacity.
Exactly, because if we do get to the disease, it's a short window, 7 to 10 days, so we got to get the whole area, potentially sprayed. That's a lot of acres.
Yeah. So when do we anticipate that the control window would be, at least at the early stage or earliest? What is the control window? Because I know this year it went long.
There's different things, but we talk about that tassel time. A lot of stuff work in the U.S. says that R2, so just at the blister stage, that kind of stuff. But again, that's a short window. Yeah. We have tar spot. We have other diseases out there. If I'm a silage person, I want to have it more earlier on. So it all depends on the situation. But generally, that I'm going to say tassel to R2 stage is when we want to look at application and controlling tar spot.
Okay, so now that of course, then if I'm a corn grower, I maybe add that to my list of the things to ask my rep about as far as genetics or management, those sorts of things. This is also a time of year where you as a team get to see some of the cool stuff that happened with new, let's say, corn and bean varieties out there. Anything super exciting coming down the pipeline overall that you want to talk about?
So last week we had Santa bring our gifts in the seed business. We always have new corn varieties, corn hybrid soybean varieties. So we got 2 new soybean products, and then for my area, 3 new corn one. They're exciting because they always bring that yield level up. And then we're focusing a lot, on the earlier ends. We got tar spot scores now basically for our products. I'm starting to bring that into the play for Eastern Ontario. So that's exciting. And we start gearing up thinking about plots, where we're going to position them, who with. That all starts in January. And then, January, we ask our reps for seed production for 2027, right? So it keeps rolling on in ahead, right? And it's continually excitement for me, though.
Yeah, absolutely. But it does seem like it gets earlier every year when you have to make decisions. So one question I have for you for today, in thinking about looking back and looking forward, thinking about perhaps yield maps, soil maps, mapping in general. What's your advice on sort of what you take from this year and try to apply to next year when it comes to, what some of those maps can tell you?
So I like looking at maps, but I like looking at multiple years of maps just to get an idea. Is it just a one-year wonder with all the rain we had? I was with a customer today, heavy clay soils, didn't have the drainage, the worst yields in that particular field. Other ones were fine, right? But we can learn lots from maps, do what we call like a lasso, go in a certain area, see what's going on, match it with, application, fungicide, no fungicide, and really learn and use that to build better maps like variable rate fertility, seeding, all that kind of stuff, I think, going forward down the road.
Mm-hmm. So if you don't have good maps, maybe that's your resolution for 2025. Get better maps.
Exactly. Or get into that variable rate overall.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, exactly. There's
Field
potential
maps,
there. Yeah.
Exactly. So.
Yeah. All right. Okay. And finally then, Paul, what are you looking forward to most for 2025?
It's again expanding the yield window, helping customers with it. I'm not looking forward to tire spot, but realize it's something that I'm going to have to really start watching out for and talking more to customers about. But that's just a fact of life, and we can manage it, we can deal with it. But it's every year's got challenges. Mother Nature always throws different weather patterns. But at the end, I think if we do the right things on the front end, we should hopefully get good results on the back end. Absolutely.
All right. Paul Hermans, thank you so much for joining me on the show today.
Thanks, Lyndsey. Merry Christmas.
Yes, and Merry Christmas to you. Well, that not only does it for today's edition of the Farmer Rapid Fire, brought to you by Pioneer Seeds Canada, it's actually our last Farmer Rapid Fire for 2024. Yes, before you know it, we're going to be smack dab into 2025. And just because of the way the holidays fall this year, next week, yes, there will still be a radio show, but we're going to have some highlight shows from the year. We'll have some best of Farmer Rapid Fire for you next week. So this is the last one for 2024. We are, of course, back tomorrow with the Issues panel. We've got Tyler McCann, Kelvin Hepner, myself, and Sean Haney. And, of course, we'll have Ann Wasco with the Beef Market Update on the show tomorrow. Monday, we've got a regular show. Tuesday, we're going to have sort of a year-end wrap-up. Tuesday, of course, being Christmas Eve. And then, of course, over the holidays, we'll have some reruns of this show. So just so you know, we'll be back with the Farmer Rapid Fire in the new year with, of course, our sponsor, Pioneer Seeds Canada and Corteva. So a big shout out to them for the 2024 season. And we look forward to so much more in 2025. Learning together, laughing together, perhaps sometimes sharing some of the hardships that is farming. And of course, if you've got feedback on today's show or anything we cover on RealAg Radio, you can give us a call. 1-855-776-6147. You can leave us a message and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. Or, of course, you can drop me an email, lsmith@realagriculture.com or shaney@realagriculture.com if you want to talk to Sean, who, of course, again, will be back for the Issues panel tomorrow. I want to, of course, say a big thank you to Andrea, to Daryl, to Korey, and to Josh for joining me on today's show, and of course, Paul Hermans as well. We couldn't do this without all our farmers who agree to it, who make time for us during their busy schedules, so we do really appreciate it. And if you, or say maybe your neighbor, would be a great addition to the Farmer Rapid Fire. We're always looking for new farmers. We love to have a smattering of people from, all the way from the East Coast all the way to the West Coast. So if you happen to know someone who you think runs a really neat farm, maybe you think that they would like to do this, because that's, of course, part of it. We will reach out, of course, and make sure they are okay with it. But if you would like to nominate someone to be part of our roster, we're, of course, open to that as well. We love to hear from you, love to hear from our audience, and maybe you are someone who should be on the Farmer Rapid Fire. All right, without further ado, let's wrap this up. Thank you, everyone, for joining me here on this Thursday edition of RealAg Radio. I really do appreciate it. I will be back, as mentioned, with the Issues panel tomorrow. We have so much to unpack with all the political wrangling that has happened, of course, in Ottawa this week. So check that out, 4:30 Eastern tomorrow, right here on Rural Radio, Channel 147, Sirius XM.